Harry and Meghan's Hollywood dream has the bubble has burst.
Yes, oh yes, the couple are seemingly wanting to come back to the royal family on bended knee.
Couple are seeking to reverse Megxit.
You know, Harry and Meghan both feel that America is kind of cooling on them and that it's difficult, and they want to be liked in the UK now.
These two are a couple of grifters, plain and simple, sweetheart.
Meghan reportedly could not get out of Britain fast enough after her latest UK trip turned into a humiliating nightmare.
The trip turned into a nightmare, forcing Markle and her children to return home to California earlier than they had hoped.
But behind the scenes, she and Harry may already be planning something completely different, a slow-motion return to the royal world they abandoned. The country Meghan allegedly rushed to escape may now be the country she needs most. This is not being presented as a joyful homecoming. It is being presented as a necessity.
It is an admission of failure. It's an admission of desperation. And it's an admission of really the fact that they miss royal life and they miss how important it made them. They're nobody today. They have zero influence.
For years, Meghan and Harry sold California as the final destination. Britain was the problem, royal life was the trap, and America was supposed to be freedom. They had the mansion, giant media contracts, celebrity friends, and every advantage imaginable.
Meghan Markle sold Harry a dream. And as he's figuring out, maybe that dream was really a nightmare. And maybe that dream was really about fulfilling Meghan's needs, wants, and desires, and not theirs. As a family, maybe the veil is finally being lifted.
Meghan and Harry back at the center of the royal story, exactly where they have struggled to remain from California. The biggest claim is that their Hollywood dream is over. That does not mean they made no money. They received enormous deals and opportunities most producers could only dream about.
At the end of the day, the couple learned that maybe escaping wasn't the best thing. The freedom flight, maybe it was a flight into disaster, and Harry only has himself and definitely his wife to blame.
The problem came after the first wave of excitement. Hollywood bought access to a prince, a duchess, and the most famous family conflict in the world. Once the interviews, documentary, and memoir delivered the royal secrets, they had to prove they could hold audiences without constantly selling the palace.
They're either in or they're out, but they can't do royal engagements here in the UK and then push off across the pond and do commercial work. It's just not an option.
That is where the American dream reportedly began to cool. A royal title created curiosity, but it did not automatically create endless hit shows or a powerful lifestyle empire. Their most valuable product was proximity to the monarchy. When that proximity became old and distant, the deals lost some of their magic.
As Hollywood has discovered one simple thing: having a royal title does not make you particularly talented sometimes, especially in the case of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
America gave them every chance, and now they may be discovering that royal access carried far more weight than they admitted. This is why Meghan's possible return is being framed as a necessity, not a desire.
Meghan is all for reconnecting with his English side, that Meghan wants to come back to Britain. I mean, I thought that she hadn't particularly enjoyed her time here. I mean, what's going on?
Sources claim she now supports reconnecting with Harry's English side, although she previously described royal life in Britain as unbearable.
The fairy tale isn't so fairy after all.
Maybe she wants Harry to be happy, but the timing is impossible to ignore. Meghan appears open to Britain at the exact moment her American brand needs fresh attention, legitimacy, and royal shine.
She has to, basically. Her numbers, her popularity is just flooring. It's at the absolute lowest it's ever been. As Ever is not selling. She's kind of running out of options. So she needs several things. Number one, she needs to go have the royal sheen put back on her. And also, she needs to be seen and accepted by the royals.
Before we continue, I want to mention something really quick. Organizing your family's important information is one of those things most of us know we should do, but we keep putting it off. That's exactly why there's the Family Vault. It gives you one place to organize your important documents, insurance, medical information, passwords, and more, so everything is easy to find when it's needed. You'll find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That's all. Now let's get back to today's story. Meghan's commercial problem is brutally simple. She earns more when she is seen. Her clothes, appearances, lifestyle products, and public image depend on photographs, headlines, and attention. A quiet life in Montecito may sound peaceful, but peace does not sell outfits or create a global comeback.
Meghan especially can hustle, but hustle only gets you so far in the entertainment industry, as it turns out. So the couple, of course, are looking at absolute disaster here, and it's feels very much deserved.
A public return would connect Meghan to palaces again and make every dress, smile, and gesture international news. That does not mean she wants her old royal job back. She may want the visibility of royal life without its discipline. She could attend selected events, appear beside Harry's charities, look connected to the king, and return to her commercial projects abroad.
You lot are now going to want to spend more time in a country you found abhorrent. Sucking up to an institution that you called racist. Suddenly your kids, the prince and princess, you want those titles. It is complete hypocrisy by both of them. And again, a bit like politicians, do they not suss out that the British public, the silent majority, have an opinion of them that, frankly, isn't going to change?
She would gain the royal spotlight without accepting the restrictions that made her leave. That is not a traditional comeback. It is another attempt at the half-in, half-out dream.
Harry more so probably thinks, based on his recent visits, that he comes back to the UK, kisses and makes up, and everybody loves him. It seems as though they want to come back and they want the best of both worlds, that Harry's grandmother, the Queen, forbade them.
And she did. She said, you're either in or you're out, because with those, they do no work and they want everything that comes with being a royal. And that's the point. That's the crux of the matter.
Harry may have an even deeper reason to turn back. 18 months ago, people around the Sussex operation reportedly insisted he loved California and had no interest in returning. Now the language has reversed. Britain is his home. He wants to visit more often, reconnect with old charities, and let his children understand his country.
So Harry has had a long time to pursue this path of freedom, if you want to call it, isolation, emancipation. He needed to get out from his family. I can see that. That was an imperative for him psychologically. But now he's done that, he doesn't want to carry on doing that because he sees what the end game is with Meghan, whose father was desperately ill. She didn't go see him. And there's still absolutely no contact between them. That's not what he wants. And he has said that's not what he wants for him and his children. So he has to start to, turn his head towards the UK.
That shift suggests Harry may not be as happy in California as the public was told. Freedom looks exciting when contracts are new, attention is enormous, and every celebrity wants a photograph. It looks different when deals slow down and the prince realizes he lives thousands of miles from the only role that gave him lasting importance.
Find it so funny. Harry did the freedom flight. He was so excited. And now it's dead. Who could have thought? Me, and basically everybody.
California gave Harry escape. It may not have given him purpose. This is where the phrase, "the veil is lifting," becomes dangerous.
When Harry, was madly in love with Meghan, he could be blind enough to choose her. Now things are different and the veil is lifting. My goodness.
One source suggested Harry was once so deeply in love that he could blindly choose Meghan, but now things may be changing. That does not prove a marriage crisis or that Harry blames his wife. But is he beginning to understand that the life they built was closer to Meghan's dream than his own? Look at what he appears to be reaching for now. Britain, military connections, old charities, family history, and public affection. Those are pieces of the identity he had before Megxit.
Maybe, just maybe, Harry is realizing his wife really sold him a bag of rotten apples and he ate it and he was in the spell, and now the spell is slowly being broken.
Harry may be discovering that he did not only leave an institution, he left the version of himself the public understood and celebrated. Now he appears to be launching a charm offensive to bring that man back. Even Harry's recent attempt to act like the old cheeky prince can be seen through that lens. Less therapy language, fewer victim speeches, and more reckless humor that once made him popular with British viewers.
Bizarre as it was, as you said, there's a kind of sense of whiplash with that Joe Marler podcast. But I think this is Harry wanting to be liked, and he's trying to be appealing again to ordinary people who have, not enjoyed being called racists and not enjoyed the things he said about his family.
The execution may have been embarrassing, but the intention looked obvious. He wants people to remember the fun Harry, not the angry man attacking his family from a California sofa. But Britain may be far colder than Meghan and Harry expect. The real nightmare was not that Britain hated them, it was that Britain appeared ready to move on without them.
Harry's proven he can't be trusted. He's done it too late. He's made the decisions. He made the decision to write spare. He can't take that back. It's kind of like you can say something to somebody, let's say something nasty, but if you write it down, it makes it worse because that person can reread it over and over and over again. So it's why you need to be careful what you say and what you write. Don't write things down. Harry wrote an entire book embarrassing his family. He had an entire Netflix series also that embarrassed his family. I don't think William will be quick to forgive or have any interest in reconciling. He may be interested, let's say, in one day forgiving Harry just for his own mental health, but I don't think there's any route for Harry at this point to have a strong relationship with his brother.
Anger creates headlines and clicks. Disinterest creates nothing. If the British public no longer cares whether Meghan arrives, leaves, smiles, or complains, the comeback becomes far more difficult. That indifference may explain the sudden charm offensive. They can survive criticism because criticism keeps them famous. What they cannot survive is becoming irrelevant on both sides of the Atlantic.
Harry was, feeling like he wasn't actually all that welcome in America anymore. And Meghan was also feeling like, what was it he said? She has to push and push.
America cooling on them is dangerous. Britain losing interest at the same time would be catastrophic. A return may be an attempt to restart the attention machine before it stops completely. The family explanation will be pushed hard. Harry misses his father. He wants the children to know their relatives. Meghan supports her husband. Parts of that may be sincere. But the British public may ask why this longing became urgent only after the American deals weakened.
Meghan is supportive of this. I mean, is it like the last resort because nobody wants to buy your loose fruit spread, perhaps? But, it makes a lot of sense. Their behavior lately has been so strange.
Yeah.
And to want to spend more time in the UK because things just aren't working out in the United States.
Harry had years to pursue quiet reconciliation. Instead, private family pain became interviews, documentaries, and a best-selling book. Trust is not rebuilt through anonymous briefings to newspapers. The Sussexes reportedly agreed that their private meeting with the king would remain private. No photographs, cameras, social media posts, or detailed account.
They're still talking despite the fact that, according to reports over the last few weeks, King Charles asked them to keep their mouths shut, especially about their meeting. But yeah, I just think that a lot of people would be really upset.
Yet people around them are already discussing their emotions, plans, optimism, Meghan's support, and America's cooling interest. The words inside the room may remain secret, but the reconciliation is already becoming a public storyline. That creates a huge risk for Charles.
Behavior in the run-up to that visit, almost everything that they could do to turn it into a disaster, they did. Almost every way that he could court for it not to happen, happened.
A father may simply want to see his son and grandchildren, but one private meeting can be presented as royal approval or the first official step toward a comeback. The Sussexes may not need the palace to announce anything. They only need the public to believe the door is opening. Personal kindness could become commercial legitimacy before any new role is agreed.
I don't think taxpayers want to pay for the Harry and Meghan circus.
No.
And it's likely very frustrating for them to see that King Charles just met with them because they're under the impression that he might be privy to the plan or a part of the plan.
Portugal may be the key to making this system work. Their reported home there is no longer just a holiday property.
The house in Portugal is part of the plan of getting back to Europe and back to the UK.
It could become a bridge between California and Britain, allowing more time in Europe without fully moving back to the country they condemned. Portugal is close enough for quick flights, private enough for their lifestyle, and useful for keeping the children near Harry's wider family.
This actually can be really useful to them as a sort of staging post now.
This could be the real transition plan. They do not have to abandon California overnight. They can slowly spend more time in Portugal, make more trips to Britain, and let the public become used to seeing them in Europe again. If Montecito becomes too isolated or commercially weak, Portugal offers an elegant explanation. They are not retreating from America, they will say. They are bringing the children closer to Harry's roots.
If Hollywood was totally Harry's idea, or if they had actually made the decision as a couple together, he would be like, yeah, let's keep going. I'm done with my family in working status. We can have a good working relationship with them. They could have exited in a dignified manner, I think, because other royals have done it. It's totally possible. You don't have to be a working royal for the rest of your life. If you're lower on the line of succession, you don't have to do that. But Harry made this decision based on the stresses and the pressure that Meghan was putting on him.
What do Meghan and Harry actually want from the monarchy? They may not need full working royal status. A tiny official role could be enough. One approved appearance, one palace residence, or one photograph near the king could unlock a different level of credibility. Broadcasters, publishers, and brands would again see active royal proximity instead of old royal memories. That is why a small concession would be a massive victory.
And Harry is surprised and defeated that America hasn't responded to him in the way that he thought ultimately they would. And so he is planning on, they called it Project Thaw before, but is planning to spend more time in the United Kingdom because he just feels like he's not going to be able to cut it in the States.
Meghan and Harry could remain private citizens when commercial freedom suits them, then look almost royal whenever they enter Britain. They could slip in and out, collect the attention and leave before the rules become uncomfortable. The late Queen rejected that model because it blurred public duty and private profit. The Sussexes may believe they can recreate it gradually without formal permission.
For them, that's a massive, massive thing to admit that the dream hasn't worked. I mean, I've read, it's briefing as well when you hear, when he misses his family and he misses England. What he didn't when he was slagging them off and getting millions of dollars to just put the boot in, but suddenly all of a sudden he's discovered that he's, and the way they'll play it is, I need to see my dad and I need to do this, but they'll never be bought. I mean, I could be wrong here, but I don't believe the British people will buy it for 1 second. I think the British people are not cynical.
Harry appears to be bending because he needs this more than Charles does. The king may want peace for emotional reasons, but Harry needs relevance, identity, access, and a future.
Camilla was there, allegedly, it said, to make sure that he wasn't softened up, because she's very much in the William camp, isn't she?
She's in the William camp.
But I think with William and Camilla together, I think there is absolutely no chance of that happening.
He reportedly accepted strict privacy conditions without a public fight. That is a major change from the man who spent years demanding apologies. Harry may finally understand that the palace can survive without him more easily than he can rebuild his brand without the palace.
If you look at the media that was generated while he was there, for the most part, he was rejected. And the nightmare wasn't just the trip. It was discovering that the privilege of royalty, doesn't automatically survive after you quit your job.
Meghan's support may be the ultimate last resort. If Hollywood were still offering giant contracts, would she really be eager to return to the country she said damaged her? Would she want palace control over photographs and information? Would she enter rooms filled with people who no longer trust her? Maybe.
Harry and Meghan left the royal family with big egos on their shoulder. They thought they were the creme de la creme, that the entertainment industry would fall all over them to give them deals and monies. And yes, Harry and Meghan did achieve that. But when you have just nothing but flops in your wake, 1 or 2 successes, but only based on your connection to the royal family, Netflix isn't stupid. Spotify isn't stupid. Nobody's really all that stupid. They're looking at this couple going, unless you can sell us something royal, you're not worth it.
But refusing Britain may simply no longer be as profitable as reconnecting with it.
Well, trust isn't rebuilt with anonymous briefings to newspapers.
The greatest contradiction remains impossible to hide.
We don't have amnesia. We remember that you made the Queen's last few years on Earth a living hell. Prince Philip's last few moments on Earth a living hell.
Meghan and Harry demanded freedom from royal life, but retained the titles. They condemned the institution, but still need its prestige.
Harry isn't all that happy in California. And as my source said, a different source, the veil is lifting. Things seem to be shifting, right? And that glorious freedom/isolation is no longer seeming to suit Harry, and he wants reconnection.
They argued Britain was unsafe, but now consider bringing the family back. They wanted financial independence, but their commercial value still rises whenever they are near the monarchy.
It's extraordinary how completely Harry and Meghan have withdrawn from American life. They don't seem to have any charities. They don't seem to have any public work. They don't seem to be out and about particularly very much, apart from a few kind of local things, or, you know, it was a slight surprise to see Harry at the Time 100 the other day.
They want the rewards of the system rebuilt around their own rules, and they reportedly believe the return is already beginning. Their circle is talking about baby steps, a better direction, and future visits. They imagine more time in Britain, possible stays near royal properties, and eventually the full family appearing around Invictus in 2027.
It seems the American dream and bubble has burst, and they now want to come over here a lot more often, including Meghan, who's up for it. How's that going to work then?
I'm not sure it is going to work.
They are speaking like people who believe the door has already opened a few inches. But a few inches are not enough to rebuild a royal career. A private meeting is not an official role. A room in a royal residence is not a return to public duty. A father seeing his son is not the monarchy reversing Megxit. Meghan and Harry may blur those differences because the optics are valuable. If the world sees them near the king and at major British events, the image can do commercial work before anything official changes.
He and Meghan also killed their own American dream with excessive greed, very many dismal productions, and the inability to learn and grow. They thought that the royal title gave them everything, but as it turns out, it gave them some things, but now they'll probably end up with nothing.
The British public may refuse to play along. People remember the accusations, interviews, and years of public conflict. They may not accept a sudden family-first campaign without accountability. Meghan can change the clothes, Harry can revive the jokes, and their team can say everyone wants peace. But the public is not required to forget how private pain became a global business. That is why this slow-motion return could become their riskiest move yet.
Even more confirmation of how badly Harry wants back in just goes to show and prove that Harry and Meghan leaving was a massive mistake, probably led by Meghan, that Harry really didn't consider. And as they get to Hollywood, they're finding out that, well, maybe the industry is interested in you for a couple of moments here and there. But then the industry figured out something. That yes, somebody has a royal title, and yes, that's cool. And yes, maybe you can sell some things on that, but a royal title does not mean Harry and Meghan are producers. It doesn't mean they're authors. It doesn't mean they're actors. It doesn't mean anything. A royal title doesn't magically imbue you with the talent you never ever had. And Meghan had no talent in the entertainment industry, which is why she was a middling player, if not C&D list her entire career.
Before we continue, one quick thing. One thing I've realized is that most families don't have their important information organized in one place. That's exactly why I recommend the Family Vault, a simple printable and fillable organizer where you can keep everything from important documents and insurance to medical information, passwords. You'll find the link in the description, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Now let's get back to today's story. If Britain welcomes them, they regain the royal shine America can no longer provide. If Britain ignores them, the weakness of their brand becomes impossible to hide. If the palace controls every image, Meghan loses the narrative. If it allows too much access, the monarchy feeds the same commercial machine it tried to shut down.
Harry never wanted to be estranged, but he was madly in love. Now the veil is lifting. So in the Bible, it does say the heart is deceitful above all things. So sometimes it's better to lead with your head than your heart, because your head can logic things through. Your heart, if you're madly in love, not so much. And then again, this is very Diana coded. Harry has a lot of Diana's features here.
This is why the palace could control every photograph, room, and piece of information if Meghan and Harry return. Security creates another uncomfortable contradiction. What changed? Did Britain suddenly become safe? Or did Harry finally accept that the palace would never surrender to every demand? Harry may also need Britain for something more practical than family. Invictus. The Birmingham Games need attention, sponsors, and financial momentum. Harry remains their strongest public face, but Harry arriving alone creates one level of interest. Meghan and the children beside him would turn the countdown into a global media event. Coverage attracts sponsors. Invictus gives Harry the perfect, respectable reason to return, rebuild his image, and present the family in Britain without calling it a royal comeback. He can say he is there for veterans, charity, and his children. At the same time, he receives British press and the familiar image of Prince Harry performing meaningful work on UK soil.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's American dream is apparently officially over. Yes, oh yes, the couple are seemingly wanting to come back to the royal family on bended knee and reforge ties in the UK as their deals with Netflix, Spotify, and a variety of other companies dry up.
So what are we really watching? A homesick prince rebuilding his family? or a fading celebrity couple rebuilding their product? Is Meghan returning because she understands Harry's pain, or because visibility in Britain is more valuable than isolation in California? Is Portugal a holiday home, or the first step in an organized retreat from the American dream? Is Charles opening the door to his son while they prepare to walk an entire commercial empire through it? One thing is clear. Meghan may have rushed away from Britain after a reported nightmare, but the nightmare waiting in California could be worse. Declining attention, weaker deals, and a public that has heard every royal grievance before. Britain was supposed to be the past. Now it may be their only route back to relevance. The Sussexes called Megxit freedom. Their next move may reveal that freedom was never enough without the royal spotlight they left behind.